1 year ago today, I uploaded my first video. It was a rail fanning video called Rail Fanning at Scarborough with Metro North and Amtrak on the Hudson. That video was sort of a learning experience for me. It's where I learned how to sort of film trains and figured out the whole sort of deal, and that sort of got me better at it. And it started what would be 21 videos. This is the 22nd video that I will be creating. And it just started sort of me going to train stations and sort of filming trains, and then through that it also got me into the other series, Engines of Metro North, or the history of Metro North, where I sort of based it off of Metro North, my local railroad, and I just kind of made videos on engines. So that video was sort of what started my channel, and I never thought that I would ever really upload for a whole year, and I definitely didn't think that I would ever hit 180 subscribers. I've mentioned this in one of my live streams, but I recently got my license. I got it about 2 weeks ago, I think. So that means that I can actually drive myself rather than relying on my parents to bring me rail fanning, and so it just means that I can go rail fanning a lot more often, but it also means that I can go farther. Where I live, Scarborough and the Hudson Line, that's probably still going to be where the majority of my rail fanning takes place. Engines of Metro North, so the next engine will be the ACMU, unless enough people go in and change that poll number before I upload the video. And I will probably release it the second week in April. But now what I have been announcing for a little while, which is the Q&A video. G.Lee asks, if you could lease equipment from any other commuter railroad for Metro North or the Long Island Railroad, what would it be? I would lease some Silverliner 4s for Penn Station access from the New Haven line. For the Long Island Railroad, I would probably end up giving them some P32s. There isn't really a surplus of them for either Amtrak or Metro North to give, but Long Island Railroad's kind of short on dual modes, and I think that would definitely help out. Will F40PH asks, what is your favorite train that the Long Island Railroad used? My favorite train that the Long Island Railroad used would probably be an FL9, as they're just honestly my favorite diesel locomotive. Sorry, F40PH. What is your favorite rail fanning location? Well, a week ago I would have said Scarborough, but now I'm going to say Phillips Manor, as there's just a bit more visibility for photography at that station and less wind. Amtrak Enthusiast asks, how did you get into trains? Well, there's this little park along the Hudson Line that is called Rockefeller State Park, and when I was there I saw a freight train go down the Hudson River, and CSX doesn't run any scheduled daytime freights along the Hudson Line anymore, and I wanted to know more about it. So the internet's a thing, and I looked it up, and YouTube videos about trains started appearing in my history, and then I found Engines of Amtrak by Amtrak Guy 365, and it just kind of went from there. Oh, Aviation Guy 530 asks, do you think the Danbury branch will receive pantographs or third rail? I think that if the Danbury branch was going to be electrified, it would receive catenary, as it's just what the New Haven line's already electrified with, and I feel like the Danbury branch was originally electrified with catenary, so it would just definitely be easier to sort of do, as some of the poles I think are still there, although Metro North would probably replace them if they were going to use them again. And it's just easier for the M8s, because that's probably what they would end up using on the line, to just do one voltage change at Mount Vernon rather than two. Brett Schwartz asks, what is your favorite train that the Metro North has owned? My favorite train that Metro North has owned would be the FL9, as it was my favorite train the Long Island Railroad owned, and Metro North owned more of them, so it's kind of... Any Railfan 812 asks, what's Metro North Railroad going to replace the P32s with? Metro North would probably end up replacing the P32s with Chargers, even though Metro North has sort of said that they're not interested in them anymore, and it's basically just because all the other diesel locomotives that are currently produced for the US are too tall to fit into Grand Central, and Metro North's 30 or 35 locomotives that they would probably order is not enough demand for a manufacturer to make a brand new locomotive just for them. And even if Amtrak jumps on, I still don't think it would be enough, and Amtrak would probably just order Chargers because they're ordering 75 of them for long distance service, so I think it just makes sense that they're going to replace them with the Chargers, even though they said that they weren't going to. Train Trooper 999 asks, do you think they should add a second track to the new Cannon branch? Why or why not? I don't think that they should at the moment, as the new Cannon branch is kind of short, and they don't really run more than one train on it at a time, and there isn't demand for very much more than that, so just for cost cutting, as the MTA has been struggling with funds since it was basically created, It's just not a very good or useful use of money. Will F40PH asks, have you ever filmed the Metro North west of Hudson lines? If not, are you ever going to? I have not filmed the west of Hudson lines, but I would obviously love to. If you ask me to film anything, I'd probably like it. I'd say that I will film them this year. I would hope to do that over my spring break, which is I think the third week in April. For those of you that don't know, I got my license, so it's probably going to be about half-hour away to get to Spring Valley or something like that to film the Pacific Valley line. Just convincing my parents is really the only issue there to drive up to Tappan Zee Bridge and stuff like that. Metro Matt 20 asks, what is your favorite transportation system? Well, my favorite transportation system would probably be the New York City subway, as it is just so useful. The city completely relies on it. If it ever stopped, the city would just have to stop. Zach Squescaria, ED209, asks, when do you plan to railfan on the West Coast, like in Southern California? I don't have any trips planned for anywhere really, although I think I'm going to Florida next year. But if I was going to California, just anywhere in general, I would film trains. If I'm going anywhere where there's a railroad, odds are that I'm going to end up railfanning there. So, not soon, probably not for the next 5 years, and who knows what I'll be doing then. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, like it, and if you loved it, please subscribe. There are more videos from my channel appearing on screen right now, so please check them out. And as always, keep railfanning, and I'll see you again in the next video. Goodbye.